What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of Dag Life Podcast here at the Dean Aguilar Group in San Diego. Today's very special guest is a very dear friend of mine. She is a wife and mother first, realtor second, Miss Lindsay Seegmiller. How are you?
Good.
Doing all right?
Yes, I'm great. Yes.
Welcome in. I appreciate you joining me today.
Yeah, good to have you. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
Taylor
you excited?
Swift?
We won't be talking about Taylor Swift today, but we will be learning a little bit more about Lindsay, the wife, Lindsay the mother, and Lindsay the realtor as well. So jumping into kind of your journey into real estate, transitioning from where you were prior. Talk to us a little bit about your journey into real estate, how long you've been in it, just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I've always been interested in real estate. It was just kind of when's the right time, the right moment to jump into it. I feel like it's one of those careers where we all know you have to study, you have to pass a test, but you still most likely have to maintain a job or a career to keep your life going.
Right.
So I kind of grew up with it being around me, so that's how I got involved with it. My dad was really big in investing and real estate flipping. So from a really small age, I just kind of learned the love of homes and the structure. And then as I got older, I could see what it could do for you financially.
Right.
So I have had a million careers before real estate, and my family always jokes and makes fun of me that it took me 38 years to find one, but so happy it took as long as it did because I love it.
Hey, sometimes it takes people longer, but the important thing is that you found something that you love more than most things that you've done before. Something that's more fulfilling than everything else, and something that you're super passionate about.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what you were doing prior to real estate, the one main thing, and what that transition was like.
Sure. So I got my esthetician license. So
Nice.
I had my own skincare studio in La Jolla.
Okay.
Little one-man shop, just me and my little Zen room, and I loved it so much. It was very fulfilling for me. I'm very passionate about health and skincare, but over like the 3 to 5 year period, I just felt like I needed more. Okay. And I just was like, what is that?
So it's interesting that you say that, right? Because we're in an industry where a lot of people come from other pillars of different hospitality or health and beauty or wellness, so on and so forth. When you say you wanted more or needed more, what exactly does more look like to you? Like, what exactly was drawing you to what your version of more is?
Yeah,
It was like I was kind of capped out. I wasn't a nurse, so I couldn't go into like
injecting and
aesthetics.
stuff like that.
So I was already doing chemical peels and stuff at my level, but unless I actually toyed with going to the idea of nursing school, so I could go to that next level. By that time, I already had my first baby, and I did the pre-nursing, and then I was like, screw this, I'm not gonna do this. It's gonna take me away too much. So when I say more, I mean I just wanted to never really have a ceiling as far as learning and growing. And then that's when I was a stay-at-home mom at that point. I was like, okay, I'm actually being supported. So now I don't have to worry about paying my bills, and I can actually follow a passion that I've been wanting to do for many, many years. And you mentioned the hospitality industry. I mean, I was a waitress, cocktail server from 18 to 33. So.
Yeah, which is super common, right? Especially when it comes to flexibility, hours, and the cash flow that comes in, right?
Exactly.
Obviously,
you can't get rid of it.
Right. Most people come from some kind of hospitality background, myself included. And I think the transition from something like hospitality, where you're dealing with so many people, or even being an esthetician, where you're dealing hands-on with a lot of people and building those relationships, it makes a transition to real estate a little bit easier. For you, just like other mothers out there, other people with children, right? There's a bigger component that comes with that transition, because obviously we know in real estate, you're not making a lot of money right away. It's sometimes take other people longer than others. But at the same time, there's that component to where once you find your niche and you're able to really excel and succeed in this industry, there is no ceiling. So that is a huge proponent as far as getting into real estate compared to other industries. So talk to me a little bit about the importance of what it was like for you getting started and how long it took you to kind of really get the wheels moving in motion to get to where you are now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a super valid point that as a mom and putting my family first and putting the time in, this is a career that you're going to get out of it what you put in, right? So again, I had small children at home, but I found the time, like I found a mentor early on, and I kind of became like a buyer's agent for this person, and I learned a lot just kind of sitting on the sidelines even before, because this was pretty much right at the end of the COVID, right in the middle of COVID.
Okay.
So there was a lot of we couldn't get in front of people, so I had to kind of sit at the desk in the sidelines and just listen to conversations and how she was handling objections. And I think I learned a lot just hearing before I got thrown out in the field. I prepared myself, but also on the flip side, you don't really learn until you do it yourself.
Correct.
So you can be told something 100 times, but until you actually do it yourself, it's completely different.
100%. And I think it's one of those industries with real estate is every single person you encounter and deal with, every single transaction, they're all completely different. And you're never going to have the same experience with one client or agent or transaction as the other. So obviously, when it comes to doing, that's really what's going to help you elevate your game. And you've done it so well now to this point, only being, what, 4 years in, right?
Yeah, I just completed year 3. So
Just
I'm
completed-
just beginning of year 4.
And me as well, right? We're
Yeah.
right at the same point together. So in terms of having the right people around you, the right mentorship, the right guidance, what did you look for in terms of when you were looking to kind of change course, change direction, or spread those wings on your own or
Sure.
go a different route?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important for me to have a team behind me that's rooting for me, that's available for me. Answer your phone calls, answer your calls, your texts, something. I know that, your mentor or your team lead or whoever you have behind you, I understand that they have their life. So for me, it was important to have that support system behind me.
Right.
And then obviously, we make money from sphere of influence, referrals, that's where we make money. But in order to get those, you have to get clients somewhere. So how do you get clients? We all want leads, right? People are like scared to say, oh, I want leads. Well, no, you need leads.
Right.
And then those leads eventually turn into your friends, past clients, sphere of influence. So when I was looking for a new direction, I was looking for more pillars. Okay. The more pillars I have, the funnel's going to get bigger at the top, and then it's going to funnel down to my relationships of how I nurture those. That's up to me. No one can nurture my own clients but me. So I think looking for the support, looking for guidance, looking for people just rooting for you, like totally in your corner no matter what.
Right. And I think oftentimes we get so jaded in this industry where everyone's kind of grasped at the next straw of who's going to give you the next best leads or where am I going to make the most amount of money, right? And we see those people all the time, especially the conversations that myself and Gil have with so many people on a daily, weekly basis about what they're looking for. And we hear it all the time and we see it all the time that people do go from team to team or brokerage to brokerage around the clock, right? It's almost like they're not finding what they're looking for or fear of missing out on the next best thing. Obviously, you've been here at DAG for a little bit of while, right? Going on 2 years, I believe?
No, it was my 1-year anniversary was like Christmas time. So
cool. So about a year and a half,
I guess. Crazy.
Love that. And you've been a huge pillar of the team success, right? Always at the top in terms of support, transactions, clients, a lot of contribution to the team, contributing back to kind of what we're building here. So talk to me a little bit about your journey into finding DAG and what made you end up choosing the Dean Aguilar Group.
So I had somebody in the industry on the loan side that I reached out to, and just kind of asked. I know as a loan officer, they work with tons of real estate agents, so I was kind of picking a bunch of people's brain. I didn't want to be influenced by personal decisions and personal relationships. So I was kind of trying to strictly go off of just the success of the business. Right. And I mean, I Googled Dean Aguilar and I sat in bed and I just read every article I could possibly find on the dude.
So what I'm hearing,
okay, he's cool.
So what I'm hearing is you were laying down in bed at night looking up Dean Aguilar. All right, cool. We're gonna let the hubby know that people. One. Love that.
So yeah, and I had no idea. I mean, being in the industry for only 2 years at that point, I had heard DAG. I didn't really know anything about them. I had no idea. You hear about the big teams in San Diego, but I don't really know too much about other real estate agents. I really don't. Like even when we're here in the office and people are like, oh, you know this big agent? I'm like, I know. I'm like, I just don't follow big people. Right. Maybe I should learn, but so I had no idea. But when someone said you should check out DAG, I said okay. So I checked out DAG. And there was one other team that I was checking out, and I just thought this group was cool.
I mean, I'd like to think there's some cool people, right? And I think when it comes to, and again, I'll always be biased just because I've been with DAG since day one of getting into real estate, and for me, I've never even felt a wrinkle of any kind of existence to try to find something else.
Totally.
Right? It works different for everyone else. For me, I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else because of the family component and the support that I've gotten here since day
Mhm.
one in real estate. So in terms of obviously, where you started, where you've been, where you got to, and where you're at right now, right?
Mhm.
Looking ahead, what are some things that you've learned in your 3.5 years in real estate, or sorry, 3 years in real estate,
Mhm.
where it's one of the biggest takeaways that you've learned where it's helped kind of propel your career so far?
So I think listings is I've learned you kind of have to master listings. I personally, I'll be super transparent. Like, I like to be a buyer's agent more than I like to be on the listing side. I feel like I can control the transaction a lot better once you get your offer accepted. Like, my buyer is in the driver's seat. But I have seen what listings can do for my business.
Correct.
And how it just snowballs and blows up. So I'm really focusing on that this year. And kind of what I've learned too is take my viewpoints, take my personal opinion out of the transaction, completely step aside. This is my client's money, it's their transaction. Right. I'm just here to guide them, and I'm not even guide, I'm actually here to just provide all of their options and have them make the decision, and me not try to influence. Obviously, if someone says, "Hey, Lindsay, if you were buying this house, what would you do?" I would give them my honest opinion.
Right.
But I think I've learned really early off is don't lead with emotion, right, in this business, because it's very emotional.
100%, right? And I think we've all had the experiences where there are those times that comes up where like you think, what would you do? But then we have to take a step back and remember that it's not about us. It's
Not
never
us.
about us. We're the experts, we're the educators, we're the advisors. We're the ones that get all the clients across the finish line, right? So they rely on us in that regard. As long as we give them obviously the accountability to understand that, hey, this is our perspective, but it's your decision at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And I think that's important, right? In terms of obviously you've learned a lot. Obviously listings have really started to pick up, not only
Mhm.
for yourself, but a lot of the team here being
Mhm.
Zillow's #1 partner for the seller program here in California and top 5 in the country,
Mhm.
which has been huge. So
Huge.
obviously your listing business has taken off and it's began to snowball. In terms of looking ahead at 2024, where are you projecting yourself to be in terms of like more listing heavy, more buyer heavy? What does it look like for you as Lindsay? What is something that you want out of it?
I mean, at the beginning of the year when I sat down to do my business plan with you, I think we had it at like maybe like 60-40, and before I was maybe 90-10,
Right.
like heavy buy side. Where I see this year going, most likely I think I'm probably going to be around the 50-50 range.
That's great.
So that's kind of my goal that just came. I didn't really make that goal, but it's a new goal.
Well, that's great because it's obviously when it comes to like benchmarks, right? We look at 90 days at a time, and kind of where you're at right now compared to where we talked about, 90 days ago has
Mhm.
been amazing to see and watch grow. And sometimes when you get out of your own way, but you have your direction of where you want to go, everything falls into place. And
Yeah.
that's clearly happened for you. And we talk a lot about momentum, and a lot of people will sometimes get stagnant or very complacent with their business and where they're at because they had a good quarter, which is not the case with you, which is amazing to see and just be a part of that. So, in terms of obviously, real estate as a whole for you, the importance of where it's helping you and your family get to, and then kind of help you grow, and then maybe your own investment portfolio and so on and so
Mhm.
forth down the road. What would you say is something that you're most excited about for the future, Lindsay, for real estate?
I want to buy my first investment property. Okay. That's like forefront. I had, let's see, it was 2 years ago, I made the 3 to 5 year mark goal to buy my first investment.
Love that.
So that's where I'm at right now. That's
amazing.
Where I'm headed.
So you guys are all tunnel vision on that.
Yeah. At least
Okay.
I am.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So talk to me, and right, we talk a lot about big fan of like women in real estate conquering, right? Because most of our ballers on our
Mhm.
team are women. The top producers on our team are women. The people that are
Mhm.
crushing most of the things are women, and it's
Yeah.
amazing to see. And juggling that, a life at home with 3 kids, school. You just came from a parent teacher conference this morning.
Mhm.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've experienced, or some of the biggest benefits that you've had as from being a mom as well?
I think me physically putting myself at showings. You're not going to sell a house if you don't show a house.
Of course.
So there are times where it's physically impossible for me to go do those showings, and I hate missed opportunities. Right. And it just eats me alive. But I have to also take a seat back and think, okay, I'm not doing that because of what? Oh, I'm here because my 2-year-old needs mom, you know?
Right.
So it's just sacrificing. And it's not bad sacrifices. Like, I feel like people think sacrificing can be a negative term, but it's not. It's just looking at your priorities, and priorities shift. And I've already seen it. I mean, I have, you know, a 6, a 4, and a 2-year-old, and I've already seen from infancy to 2, I don't have that baby. I've always had a baby, and even just from 2 years old, like, I can see so much opening up, and I can know what, like, the next 2 years will be open. The kids are going to be in school, so you just have to work around. I mean, you should see my calendar. It's got like 5 colors on it. You know, it's like if it's not color coordinated, I have no idea where anybody is, including myself.
Including myself.
Right, but I think that's the important thing, right? Because the thing that you mentioned is, you know, a lot of people look at sacrifice as a bad thing, but
Yeah.
I look at it as a great
It's
thing.
timing.
As long as you have your non-negotiables and your priorities in place, you're not sacrificing in a negative way. You're putting the things that are most important to you first.
Yes.
And I think that's what people fail to see sometimes. But obviously, you've been able to kind of adjust that perspective, because the perspective of it is everything. Where you're at now, right? You've been through 45 different careers, 38 different jobs, and obviously you settled on something that you're super passionate about. It's fulfilling to you. If you could look back at 18-year-old Lindsay with, you know, the life that you've had since 18-year-old Lindsay was 18, right? What would you tell her right now at this point in time to get her to where you are right now?
I would say 1000% buy the plane ticket and go and travel the world.
Just do it.
Just freaking do it, because at 18, 19, 20, whatever, it's what you have going on that day, that year, means absolutely nothing. And if it's not there when you come home, if you come home, then it's not meant to be.
Right.
Travel the world, learn, just don't hold back.
Experience life.
Like 1000% don't hold back. Follow your gut, do your head, and don't let boyfriends influence your decisions.
So it sounds like you've had some influence when you were 18.
I've always been in relationships. I've had like ups and downs, you know, but
Right.
I've been like a serial relationshiper. I just always have. And that's probably the main reason why I didn't freaking go travel, study abroad. How many of my friends in college did the study abroad program? What, 3 months? Like 3 months feels like it's 2 years.
The boyfriend that I'm only gonna have for 6 months.
And that was like 7 boyfriends ago. So it's like, sorry, too much?
No, I love it. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's great advice. And one thing that you bring it up that I promised myself coming into this year is that I would experience life again a little bit more, right? Especially while I'm in my single guy era, right? I'm just kind of experiencing life, having fun, not in that regard, but just kind of experiencing life while I have the time before I am in another relationship. And I have a trip coming up to Spain in July, which I'm super excited about.
Cool.
First time traveling solo, going to Europe, first time to Europe. So I'm super excited about that. Do you guys have any travel plans or anything big that you guys are looking forward to as a family outside of like investments?
We leave for Hawaii on Saturday. Not this Saturday, but like 10 days, well, 2 weeks, I guess. It's our first family vacation.
It's exciting.
We don't have family that lives here. My husband, he grew up here, so we see them, but like my family is not here. So we always, it seems like, you know, 2 big trips a year is a lot.
Right.
And
especially with 3 kids.
It's a lot. So those trips have always been prioritized around going to visit family, or they come here, or we meet in the middle. We've never like, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? Right. So we are going to Hawaii for 8 days, and I'm very excited about it.
You guys deserve it.
I'm so excited.
It's always exciting to hear kind of people's journeys and their stories and kind of where people have been and what they've planned. And you guys have 3 kids together. You guys are just going on your first trip together with the 3 kids, right? You have a lot to look forward to. You're both crushing in your careers. Real estate investments are down the road. One thing that I want to bring up is legacy, because it's a big thing that we talk about here at DAG, and is a big proponent of who we are. And it's also something that's important to all of us in a different way. You could think about legacy, what you guys want to leave behind. When all is said and done, what exactly is the ideal legacy that you want to leave behind for your kids?
It's a super tough question.
Always is.
It really is. I mean, there can be so many components to the answer. But we really teach kindness, and basically, if you look out for other people's best intentions, naturally in return, you will succeed.
100%.
And so we, at the drop off of every day, I tell my kids the same things: be kind, have fun, and follow directions. Wait, no, I can't remember. Wait, it's be kind, have fun, follow directions. And I feel like if they do all three of those things, it just naturally comes back to you. So my legacy would be follow the rules of life, of other people's success. Don't focus on you, because if you only focus on you, I feel like you're not going to get anywhere.
Love
It
that.
just doesn't happen.
Love
It
that.
just doesn't happen.
I love the perspective, right? Because everyone has their own perspective of those things, but that's super amazing to hear. I appreciate you for joining me today and learning a little bit more about
Yeah, it's fun.
Lindsay, the wife, mother, and realtor. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time.